Is it because he knows that in India दो ही चीजें चलती हैं, Bollywood and cricket? If I understand, in 2004 or 5, digital marketing as a term was not understood or accepted by anyone in India, right?
Google was the only platform, and then there were, of course, these horizontal platforms, as we used to call it those days, which was rediff.com, yahoo.com, msn.com. So those were times where you actually thought, acha, like print, let me place an ad on the homepage of these websites. That was digital marketing for you. It took Amazon 15 years to crack it into the market. If you think that ONDC is going to change the behavior of consumer, it is a very far-fetched claim. ONDC has to be integrated in the existing ecosystems of where we do e-commerce. A lot of now companies have come up saying that कि मैं e-commerce में demand बनाऊंगा. It's a very expensive proposition to do, and you can do it if in case you want to grow at a very small pace. Like ठीक है मेरे पास 20 ऑर्डर महीने का आया, next month it became 40, then it became, but I'm growing at a very small pace, steady pace. वो scene है तो please आप e-commerce में बनाइए अपना brand.
Hello and welcome all to yet another episode of The Branding Circle, a podcast for the entrepreneurs and the marketing community. Today we have an exceptional guest with us who's been in the marketing industry for almost 2 decades. She heads digital marketing and transformation for one of India's largest pharmaceutical companies, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. So let's welcome Reethika Nair with us today. Hi Reethika, welcome to the Branding Circle.
Thanks, Ankit. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much for taking time, and I think it was what, 2 hours of drive for you today morning, or a little less?
No. It was fine.
It was fine.
Normal Bombay traffic can't really do much about it, but yeah, it was fine.
Absolutely. So as I introduced, right, so we are going to talk no gyan, but conversation which is going to be around marketing, brand building for the startups. Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us something about you that probably no one has heard.
Oh my God.
Yeah, something like how you started, what was your first career break, who was your first boss. Try to make it as interesting as possible for the viewers.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm not prepared to answer this question. So, as you rightly said, it's been almost 20 years now since I started off. And, incidentally, it's funny you asked me this question. I did not plan to be in digital marketing at all. When I, post my stint with the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, which is where I graduated from, I was very clear that I wanted to do media planning and specifically outdoor media. So my idea was that I will revolutionize the outdoor media space by digitizing it as such.
Wow.
So it was very clear in my head that I was going to work in innovative outdoor assets, right?
Okay.
That was the idea.
So the digital LED ads that we see on the outdoors
I would
right
have
now.
done it. Yes, that was my mission
Yeah?
and vision in 2004.
Wow.
Okay.
That's when you graduated.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I kind of, because those days it was very important for us to first secure an internship and then convert that into a job. I started my career with an agency called Mindshare. And it used to be called Mindshare Interaction those days because that was the only job available for me. So somebody said, le lo, dekh lo, aage badh lo, and then you kind of like figure out life from there. So that was the reason I actually started working in the online marketing space.
And what was this first job into? What was this internship into?
It was into search marketing.
Search marketing.
For Nokia.
Oh.
Okay.
So I think even Google was not that prominent in those days. Not at all, right?
Not at all. So, it was those days where Google actually started building, how to do, search marketing. What is keywords really playing like? How do you convince marketers to even think about what keywords are? Because nobody understood the concept of keywords itself, right?
Yeah.
Today people talk about prompts. Those days, keywords were not understood.
Yeah.
So Nokia search marketing is where we started. And there were international companies who were working with us. So the other account that I was managing was on Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah.
Airlines,
yeah.
Okay, so search
How
was
two diverse industries, right?
Yes. And search marketing played a very important role those days in ticket booking because the people were still, using for finding out fares, booking tickets. Actually,
that was majorly in US?
Yes. So in India, Virgin Atlantic was there.
Okay.
And ticketing was happening on Google. So there was a lot of discovery of ticket prices which were happening on Google. So Virgin Atlantic, because of the fact that they were already prevalent in the US markets, they wanted to replicate the same into the India markets.
Okay.
And Mindshare was their agency on record
Wow.
for them.
So they wanted to enter India in those days, I think 2005-06 probably.
Yes, right. And then you kind of wanted like a full-fledged team who was not only doing media planning but also doing online marketing. How can you play? Since they were a US company, they were very well versed in terms of how online media should be a part of the media plan as such. And search marketing media plan was then made by me.
So if I understand, in 2004 or 5, digital marketing as a term was not understood or accepted by anyone in India, right?
So travel.
Which social platforms we had in those days? What, Facebook, Orkut? What?
Orkut
those
was
were the
there,
days.
But nobody did social media advertising.
Yeah.
It did not really exist. Orkut also did not really like monetize themselves as such,
not
right?
at all. Yeah.
So Google was the only platform, and then there were of course these horizontal platforms, as we used to call it those days, which is rediff.com, yahoo.com, msn.com. So those were times where you actually thought, acha, like print, let me place an ad on the homepage of these websites. That was digital marketing for you, right?
Okay.
Cut to a place. So from Mindshare, I moved into Interactive Avenues, spent a lot of time there. That was actually a very rich learning ground because Interactive Avenues dealt with a lot of BFSI clients.
Okay.
So BFSI was always ahead of the curve in digital marketing, those days also and even today.
But there was no social platform or any other digital platform to market onto. But then how did they do lead generation in those days with only, I think, search platforms present in terms of Google, MSN, Yahoo, Rediff?
The interesting part was email marketing was very big.
In those days?
In those days.
Okay.
So lead generation even today actually, email marketing plays a big role in lead generation. But email marketing was the backbone of a lot of these so-called performance marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like as I said, Yahoo Mail was very big for us. Hotmail was very big for us.
Okay.
Google those days then introduced the Gmail opportunities, so to say. Where we, there used to be ads which used to come in between,
on the mailboxes.
On the mailboxes.
Yeah.
So those were avenues where media started, playing a role a lot more prominently within media plans. And cut to maybe 2007-8 was the time I think when even Facebook opened up their their stamp ads. I don't know whether you remember this. Those really tiny stamp ads which used to come on the right side of the page.
The right side or left side probably I've seen. Yeah, very small ones.
Correct. Yeah, very small. Ads.
But in those days we didn't know how to run these ads. These were like much more than jargons for us.
So when we were in advertising agencies, you had to be in the forefront of learning also. So companies like Facebook would come to these agencies to kind of educate, sell then to companies,
because they wanted to build their market share in terms of digital advertising in India.
Absolutely. So I used to run it for some of these companies like Mahindra and Mahindra and I don't know whether you remember this company called Ditto TV run by Z.
Yeah, I remember.
It used to be an app.
Yes.
So basically we used to run performance marketing campaigns for them through social. When they used to say performance marketing, it was largely how do I get my number of followers increased, right?
Okay.
How do I increase the number of likes on my page?
Yeah.
So see, one thing I must say social media actually brought out for all of us is the conversation of engagement and building consideration in digitized world is thanks to social media. There was no
major
real
thanks to Facebook and Meta.
Absolutely, right? Even if you look at the whole awareness, interest, desire and action was always existent as a marketing terminology.
Correct.
If you have to look at how do you measure that interest and desire, if the internet did not exist, the understanding of the offline world to understand interest and desire was very vague. One would assume that by possibly looking at the number of footfalls that you were able to drive in retail, which was a very long shot or maybe a very small percentage of people who would actually end up doing that.
Correct.
If you look at it, if you saw an ad, maybe mentally you made note of it.
Correct.
But was there any way to measure it?
No.
Not really.
Yeah.
So internet played a huge role there. Like the fact that you're able to measure brand searches, you're able to measure Google searches, you're able to measure how many page views did a brand page get, right? Like,
Correct.
that was a huge opportunity suddenly opening up thanks to the online advertising, which kind of came
I
in.
think that is where online advertising or digital marketing has been winning over traditional marketing, right?
Absolutely.
You can attribute that this sales has come from this channel. You can even measure, okay, where am I reaching to my audiences? How many of my TG is viewing my ads and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is actually not possible in traditional marketing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, I would say the share of overall advertising spends in terms of digital versus traditional has not gone that drastic, and people have not, left traditional and come back to digital. I think we still see what newspaper advertising is doing as good as digital.
See, Ankit, I think there is a normalization curve which kind of hits every new interruption or eruption which happens into this
Okay.
curve of things. So, print has seen a recede for sure, right?
That's there, yeah.
So the print conversation. So print, by the way, played a role in that interest and desire because people used to bring cutouts.
Yeah.
People used to bring those. अच्छा मुझे ये
ये
freebie
ad
चाहिए.
देखा है मैंने, हाँ,
या
correct,
freebie
या
चाहिए because
freebie
ये
चाहिए,
cut
आपने
करके
देखा
लेके
था.
जाइए. So
Correct,
then you will get
correct.
that freebie. So print played that role there. It was at a much more limited scale than what the internet plays today.
Yeah.
So that money has definitely moved into the internet media. Today, what the internet media is fighting for is the share of TV. So when you kind of deliver high impact, see, TV plays a very specific role in the marketing funnel.
Correct.
You deliver highest impact, fastest reach through TV even today in India.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But it's not within the reach of every company, or if you talk about a startup culture that is
the
building up in
affordability
India.
or
Yeah.
the point of like not everybody has a crore to spend
Correct.
within a month for doing TV advertising, which internet suddenly opens up for you.
Correct.
So if you look at how the internet industry, and if you look at the numbers of how, if you see out of $100 which was available today, close to about like $60 is available for the internet. And it's not because of the fact that every brand is spending 60% of their monies on digital.
True.
It's the volume of advertisers who's kind of come onto digital and open up their wallets into digital, because you can buy small amount of media also on digital.
Yes.
Right.
True.
So TV was unaffordable. Digital has made affordability in media, and the sheer volume of number of people who are now able to advertise at impact is now become higher.
The wallet share that digital is taking from
So the overall media pie, digital has now taken share, but that's because the number of people who have kind of invested in digital has increased. It's not because every brand has increased their proportion of digital advertising.
True.
Okay, so that is the difference which is playing in the market today. So many D2C brands existing.
Correct.
How many of them really on TV? But everybody on digital.
So if you can put some number to this, what is the percentage share of television? What was there in terms of advertising? Maybe in 2004 as compared to 20 years now, 2024. How much share has digital taken over from the television?
Digital didn't have a share, yeah. Like it was,
but
like,
then television
I would say
lost.
it would less than. I would think television would have probably lost about 20-25%. Okay.
That must be huge because television is expensive.
See, but what has happened, Ankit, is you wasted a lot of money with television.
Yeah.
So let's say I was a giant FMCG company. I had only to target a niche audience set.
Correct.
Because there was no other option for me, I went into TV and blasted to everybody and anybody who was relevant or irrelevant.
Correct.
Today, digital offers me the opportunity to be a lot more specific to my
personalization is possible.
Not just personalization, right? It's just reducing
specific
my
targeting.
Specific targeting is possible. Exactly. So that is one thing where people have moved away from TV. So if you have a niche target audience, you're probably staying away from TV. But there are some advantages of TV even today which digital cannot solve for. Like, if you want very quick reach happening, digital cannot solve for it even today. There is no one platform. YouTube played some bit of a role there, whereby you used to probably take YouTube ka master le liya, so you reach a huge number of people.
Yeah.
But YouTube has made themselves unaffordable. So people now, nobody wants to look at the last number I heard was close to about 1 crore. For doing 1 day of YouTube fixed advertising.
Wow.
So it's become unaffordable to kind of, do such opportunities. So digital does not have capability to do fast mass reach quickly.
Okay.
The TV does that for you.
But then what, now that the internet penetration in India is also happening, special probably thanks to Jio, the way they have reduced the pricing for data and stuff. But still you think that digital is not the medium to reach faster to your target audiences?
Yeah, because the digital biggest problem is fragmentation.
Yeah.
There is no one big website which kind of addresses everybody.
Okay.
See, for example, TV today also has properties like an IPL,
Yeah.
which everybody is clued in and watching too. Digital does not have those kind of properties.
They are coming up with some of them.
Like, for example, Hotstar is one of those examples, right? Like, you still have, like, in a match, you have 3.5 crore people watching.
Watching, yeah.
Right? So, there are some, but not all. And Hotstar also doesn't allow you to kind of like do these sporadic one-match interactions, right? If you take on an entire package.
Yeah.
So, it's not like an option there.
Correct.
But you can make choices. See, I think there was this MG, I want to say, 2 years back, I think, when they also had limited media budgets, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation, and I remember one of the media agencies coming and telling me
When
this.
did they launch in India, MG? I think 4 years back?
I'm not
Just
sure.
before lockdown probably?
I'm not sure.
18, 19.
Possible hai. But MG, I don't think
budgets,
18, 19. I think it was earlier than that.
Oh, okay.
But
we started probably hearing about MG in 18, 19.
I'll tell you the reason also why. It's because of the fact that they started investing in cricket.
Marketing. Oh, okay. Sponsoring tournaments. Suddenly, like, the conversation of MG just went berserk.
Yeah. But, I must give credit to the marketing manager, the head there, to take a call to choose cricket over, let's say, any other media.
Okay.
Because he had only limited budget.
Correct.
If you want to touch cricket in India, you have to have a decent amount of money, like nothing less than 8 to 10 crores.
Okay.
He must have had a budget possibly of 15 crores. Agar 8-10 crores he needed to put in this.
Yeah.
He needed the guts to have it.
Yeah. So you're putting 2/3 of your marketing budgets only on one bet.
Yeah. But he took that bet and it worked for him. So
is it because he knows that in India दो ही चीजें चलती हैं, Bollywood
and cricket? I agree. And Bollywood में risk है.
Yeah.
Picture चलती है, picture पिटती है.
तो ही brand चलेगा.
Yes.
Correct.
So picture चलेगी तो like ठीक है, otherwise you're like lost.
Yeah.
So cricket is your one sure shot thing. So cricket also prices themselves like that.
Correct.
But and you take a risk, right? Like IPL is a better bet than, let's say, a World Cup. Because World Cup you never know. You may play the wrong run, you may not play the wrong run.
Correct.
IPL, you know for a fact that this is going to be there.
This is going to be there, yeah. Because
so then
you
again,
don't have to choose one team.
Exactly.
You have your players in all the teams.
Either that, or you probably take the tournament as such. You don't take it as a specific team
match
as
or
such.
team as such.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we digressed into too many other things.
Okay.
But yeah.
I wanted to ask you one more thing. So you touched upon a topic called AIDA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone say I'm just out of college and want to start something, but I'm not from marketing. Okay, I'm a finance background. I don't know what is AIDA model.
Okay.
If you want to.
So no worries. I mean, AIDA model honestly is very loosely, it's very logical as such, right?
Yeah.
If any person wants to solve for a problem.
Okay.
So you start with let's say I have a need gap of finding trousers, right?
Okay.
I want black trousers. That's my need of the hour.
Yeah.
So how would I do it? I'll probably either there will be some kind of awareness. So AIDA stands for awareness, interest, desire, and action. Okay. Correct. So either awareness, I will, I will have some knowledge about what are the brands out there in the market. So as a marketer, I want to first build my brand is available in the market. So I tell people, awareness is about telling people that you are available in the market.
Okay.
This is the solution that you have for them.
Okay.
Right. So that is the stage
more or less what you call top of funnel.
Yeah, it's like, so that's now a jargon. So I'm going to stay away from it. So basically, if you think of it, it's a sequence of things, right? Okay. So as a marketer, you start from the awareness point of, when you in your marketing journey of sorts, you build awareness for the brand. Then you say how it is relevant for you in that consumer's life or that customer's life, right? So when I say like I'm available in the market, which is where I'm building awareness, then I say how it is relevant for you as my customer. Right? So let's say I as a customer, I wanted black trousers. So I will probably now say, okay, look, there is a brand called, let's say, Zara. I mean, just giving a random now. Zara is available in the market, but why should I choose a Zara? Because it's got great fit, right? Or it's got like the best or most trendiest fits in the market. So then I'm saying, okay, as a consumer, I'm very trend conscious, so it kind of makes sense for me.
Correct.
So you kind of want to. So then I'm interested. Acha, should I go and check out a Zara, for myself? So like now I'm interested.
Correct.
You build desire by saying scenarios like, you know what, Kareena Kapoor's wearing it, right?
Yeah.
So now it's suddenly like, oh, I also want it, right?
So
now
is it
you're
like
saying,
aspirational?
you build some kind of an emotional benefit, that you trade off from the customer end. Yeah. So that is where you're actually building desire. Okay. Or you can build desire by saying that अभी मेरा attractive price चल रहा है, right? तो अभी आप लोगे तो आपको बहुत बड़ा saving मिलेगा, value proposition you can give out. So those are the the spaces, and then finally you move it into action, whereby you say, so action could be, so like as I said, like the saving wala piece could be an action scenario where you're trying to close that action faster.
Yeah.
So if you think of it in a logical sense, right? You want a customer to know about you. You want a customer to come asking for you. You want a customer to kind of, why should the person be even thinking about you when there are so many plethora of options? So when you have like, when you come to a shop and you have a ton of biscuit brands in front of you, why do you choose one over the other?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the stage of like probably desire building, and what is that that you've built maybe at the awareness stage or the interest stage. At the point of choice, as they say, point of sale. So that point of choice where you kind of like, you're able to make that specific decision by the plethora of information which is there already built by the brand manager for you.
Correct.
And then you kind of have like a scenario of closing that action. Now it could be closing that action, could be scenario like, if I have to choose a packet of Britannia biscuits, right? Is there some kind of a push from the retailer end that I could probably, get?
Yeah.
Britannia biscuit, अरे भाभी जी ये ले लो, बहुत बढ़िया feedback आया इसके लिए, right? ये तो हमेशा ही stock out होता है, आज मेरे पास मिला है. Or some kind of an urgency building to kind of close that loop of action.
Correct.
It could be various. So today it is, I'm talking about a biscuit brand, so you could think of it like this. But let's say for a car manufacturer, that action stage is a very long stage.
Correct.
वो आता है showroom, test drive लेता है. So he has probably shown his desire to buy the car.
Yeah.
But for taking that last action is a long process. You will have to probably convince him that I have got great finance options for you. अरे आपको गाड़ी मैं कल ही लाके दे दूंगा.
Correct.
Or I could say something like, आप सिर्फ आज 5,000 रुपए दे दो, बाद में आप देख लेना.
बाकी का देख लेना, लोन करा लेना.
So that action stage in various categories differs. And AIDA is just a model today. It may or may not exist for a lot of brands in the same sequence of things.
Correct.
So a lot of times, like I'll give you an example. Today, if you want to buy a soap, do you think you'll actually go through the entire AIDA model?
Absolutely not.
Depends
it is more of an impulse buying, or maybe if there's a recommendation from someone, or if I've done my research already.
And I'm talking about a normal functional soap. So let's not confuse it with, let's say, I'm like a anti-age soap or whatever else. But like basically it is a soap which is for regular hand wash purposes, right?
Okay.
Dettol plays it very brilliantly by saying ki I kill 99% of your germs, right? So there is an interest that Dettol builds compared to let's say a D-Mart ka local hand wash. But there might be a consumer who says ये तो सिर्फ soap है यार, मेरे को सिर्फ हाथ धोना है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, let me just buy this. ये 20 रुपए सस्ता है compared to a branded product. Today the ecosystem thanks to e-commerce is really changing.
Correct.
Right? Your decision making is at the point of sale itself. Whether it is on e-commerce, whether in fact large format modern trade stores.
Correct.
You walk into अच्छा I want to go to like a modern trade store, देख लूंगी कुछ तो महीने का सामान वहाँ से उठाना ही है, right? So I will kind of like then go make a decision making there itself. So even my awareness happens at that point of sale.
Yeah.
So this AIDA model in the earlier days where it used to be so sequential, today does not exist sequentially.
Yeah.
It
can go from attention to desire and action, or it can even go from attention to action sometimes.
Correct. You're actually there as an action for buying monthly grocery.
Correct.
But at that point, you build awareness to a product which is in front of you. So it's not as sequential anymore. It is extremely now. So I would say forget models. Things now logical. You understand which is why everybody today is only talking about customer journey.
Yeah.
You know your customer.
Correct.
What is his journey? You solve for it within his journey. Nobody cares about
if you're following the model or not, or if you're following the sequence.
So that's why in fact a lot of now companies are saying ki please frameworks अगर करना है, talk to me about तुमको customer के बारे में क्या पता
क्या
है,
पता है,
consumer के बारे में क्या पता है, उसका कौन सा need gap आप solve कर रहे हो,
right,
what is his cycle of how he solves that need gap,
correct.
how do you solve for it within that cycle. This is the very clear answer everybody is searching for. Frameworks, I mean, it exists
Yeah.
because the fact that frameworks need to be there, but like the olden frameworks of, you know, thinking so sequentially, it does not exist.
Doesn't exist, or no more relevant in today's age,
Not relevant at all.
especially in digital age. So talking about digital, which has been changing a lot, and we've seen the boom in e-commerce, right? And you've chosen e-commerce as your career. So in these 19 years of journey, you've spent how many years in e-commerce? Or
11.
not specifically with e-commerce brands, but working for e-commerce brands.
Yeah,
It can
yeah,
be with
yeah.
agencies, it can be directly on the client
So,
side.
My first experience with e-commerce was actually within World Gold Council,
Yeah.
right? Where the task was that you have so many retailers in the in the country today. Can you actually unify their offerings and bring it to the consumer? So just imagine, like, those days marketplaces as a concept did not exist.
Correct.
But you knew, like, let's say pure diamond stones was available in these so many outlets.
Right.
So if you wanted to place an order, you could place an order, or you
Okay.
could kind of like at least find out which is the closest jeweler to you who has the same inventory available with him. आप भी आप
Okay.
जाओगे तो उसको मिलेगा.
Milega, right.
So the commerce model did not exist in terms of actually transacting, but it was more in terms of discovery. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
So that was in World Gold Council. Of course, then
Which year was this?
This was in I want to say 2013ish.
13, 14.
Yes.
So you've spent good 10, 11 years in e-commerce.
Yes. Yes.
So what has been in this entire journey? What has been the most hardest part of your job?
You know, keeping track of things.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little on this? Because there are so many numbers to track. Is it what you mean?
Not numbers. See, numbers, I think, and I'll talk about it in terms of like metrics and how today everybody gets so lost in metrics.
Correct.
So I will talk about that a little later. But if you have to kind of say the biggest thing when I say keeping track of things is today the number of marketplaces and e-commerce websites which is erupting in the market is crazy. Everybody thinks that there's a need gap that they're solving for within e-commerce. There's ONDC who has kind of made it even more complex.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're still not succeeding, even though from the government side.
I don't think they're not succeeding, by the way. I think they are.
The acceptance from the customer side is still not there, right?
Look, it took Amazon 15 years to crack it into the market. If you think that ONDC is going to change the behavior of consumer, it is a very far-fetched claim.
Okay.
ONDC has to be integrated in the existing ecosystems of where we do e-commerce. That is where the gap is. Today also, like, I think ONDC
But are they trying to do the same thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Look, they are, I think, working in both the elements. I think one is the fact that they're talking to individual brands and saying, look, set up your own stores.
Correct.
Forget dependencies on marketplaces. Right? Today, and it's very easy for a brand to move because marketplaces are not making it easy. The amount of margin that goes away just to operate in a marketplace is crazy. So one is they're talking to brands and saying, set up your own stores. Because also it's a social phenomena where they're trying to solve for these younger, smaller companies to solve for logistical, challenges.
Challenges, yeah.
Right? So most of the times they don't have like their own infrastructure in terms of, solving for supply chain, distribution, warehousing, all of those. But there are a lot of people who are available to solve for it.
Okay.
You may or may not be aware of them. Bringing this whole ecosystem together, you are able to kind of solve for a larger social cause for sure. The opportunity suddenly in the country just exploded.
Yeah.
Right.
So can we position ONDC as a marketplace for e-commerce vendors? Where you have,
I would still say
where
ONDC
you get a
is
platform
service.
where you get a platform to sell, where you get logistic companies, shipping companies, probably you'll get marketeers.
See, I also understood this in the tough way. It is not a platform.
Okay.
So it is not a platform where, let's say, all smaller vendors come and register themselves. No. It is a service for solving for the networking issue. So today, Amazon only, for example, largely operates from their own logistics service.
Correct.
Right? Or Flipkart will have their own logistics service.
Correct.
And nobody really can enter this place. There are, I mean,
build
they will
entry
tell
barriers,
you,
right?
they will tell you that,
Mm.
you can actually have your own logistics setup. You can get your order, into your own ID and you can service it,
Correct.
which is what a lot of smaller companies are doing. But there are lots of gaps in their systems. And if you are not able to live up to the same service like an Amazon, logistics partner is giving you, you've lost your customer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now what is happening is ONDC is actually coming and telling you that I will offer a lot more price benefit to the end consumer by taking off the middleman charge, right?
So
Also
by
giving
middlemen, they mean Amazon and Flipkart kind of marketplaces. Kind of. Okay.
Kind of. I wouldn't say only Amazon, Flipkart.
Yeah,
it
but
could be the
kind
other
of,
guys
because
also. But
I
yeah.
use Amazon because people would relate to Amazon more.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
there are
true,
many
and it's
more
the largest.
marketplaces.
It's the largest marketplace. I mean, of course, Flipkart is also there, but like
Correct.
both these guys are like fairly large, whereby somewhere it's also worrying about a monopoly of sorts, right? So
Or a duopoly.
Or a duopoly, right? So you kind of want to mitigate that by allowing the larger infrastructure also, which is a lot of smaller entrepreneurs bringing their own value proposition into the market. So now you're making it a fair play game. That's what ONDC is solving for.
Right.
So it's literally like becoming a service for the smaller entrepreneurs and for the consumers who are seeking better value systems from the manufacturers. So if I, let's say, have a 100 rupees product as such on a marketplace, because of the margin that the marketplace charges, I have to unfortunately price myself as 150 rupees.
Yeah.
In the ONDC model, I can actually sell at 100 rupees.
Okay.
Because there are people who are a lot more price competent. There are localized players who then don't have to like operate in a national level, and hence cost is much lesser.
Correct.
Right? So there are those advantages. And then there are also advantages saying that, look, मेरे को immediately 2 दिन में नहीं चाहिए. I'm okay to wait for it for a hafta. Then you can use services like India Post or those kind of services, which are a lot more cost efficient.
But then brands like Amazon and Flipkart are really spoiling you for deliveries, right? They are
not just them. Now look at quick commerce.
Yeah, that's what 10 minutes deliveries. So do you think the Indian consumers, especially the teens that are going to be coming in the spending capacity in few years now, will they be willing to accept a product delivery or an e-commerce delivery after a week?
So Ankit, interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I just had this like 2 days back. So what is happening now is quick commerce does not give you the cost benefit that an Amazon and Flipkart gives you. That 35 rupees discount which you're all used to, or 35% discount that you're all used to enjoying, quick commerce does not give it to you.
Correct.
So over a period of time, the consumer will now make a choice between, do you want value proposition in terms of convenience? You want value proposition in terms of price.
Right.
So there will be a split of the consumer who will happen.
Okay.
And that is where eventually like we're all headed towards. Either the quick commerce guys will also realize it, okay, there are only so many people who are seeking convenience. Now, if I want the next lot of consumers, I need to probably offer price benefit. Then they will be probably competing with the Amazons and the Flipkart, and then there will be like a true sense of war. Right now, it is, it is that cusp of where they're sitting. It's only the top 5% of India who's possibly paying full price and moving. See, you look at the retail evolution, right? There was a Kirana store.
Yeah.
Full price MRP खुद जाके लेना पड़ता था. Then modern trade came in
like
whereby you get a lot more variety, okay, and you kind of can get some kind of discounts.
Correct.
Then, but you still had to go to the store.
Yeah.
Okay. Then came e-com. E-com mein the convenience was also there, plus value proposition was also there, which is where the market got screwed up. Because in the US, if you bought on e-com, you were paying actually a convenience price from e-com.
Oh.
Right. So there was always a higher cost to operate to buy on e-com, because there was an additional cost of delivery, cost of whatever, platform cost. Yeah. Okay, so all of that was there. Cut to today. So e-com was spoiling the customer in both ways, whether it is two-day delivery plus value proposition.
Correct.
Now the quick commerce guys have said, I will not give you value proposition, but I will give you the delivery even faster than 2 days. I'll give it you in 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah.
So now the change we'll have to wait, and like the normalization curve, we'll have to see, how, as I said, what is the consumer going to choose, or whether these guys, like if you look at Big Basket today, they are sold for it. They said, like, I'll also give you in 20 minutes, right? So now what they have done is they have figured out logistic ecosystems of putting up their own warehouses.
Correct.
Dark stores of sorts.
Stores.
And they are also now giving it to you, but they don't have the entire inventory available. It's like not the entire plethora which is available in that 2-day delivery slot.
Correct.
It is now available to a smaller inventory.
Correct.
So incidentally, Swiggy Instamart only operates with close to, I think, they said 4,000 SKUs.
Okay.
That's their limit.
It.
That's it.
Beyond which they cannot scale and also cannot service.
They can't service. So now they're saying very clearly.
Is it because of the logistical problems or is it because of the problems with the products?
No, warehousing problem.
Warehousing problems.
Yeah, it's a warehousing problem. But the thing is that what they're also realizing is, why should I keep a product which does not have demand? I'm solving for a product which everybody wants and requires at their homes.
Yeah.
So I will only solve for those. So they're being fair to the ask. Agar Colgate chahiye, I will have you. But if you want something very niche, I don't think everybody requires you. So you please then operate in the regular channel.
So they are probably like products which are fast moving.
Fast moving. And that's a way more profitable model also, right? Because you don't have to create any demand.
Correct.
Already
the demand is already
existing.
there. You're just servicing them quicker.
Yes.
I don't have to get down. I don't have to walk to that shop. I don't have to come back. It's just, receive.
And they do have models where you can force fit onto SKUs, but the pricing is way more higher and exorbitant. They will charge you per location, per SKU.
And this is you saying on the brand side?
Sorry?
This pricing and all.
They'll charge you like for a marketing fee of sorts.
Okay.
So they will list you, but they will charge you an exorbitant marketing fee.
Wow.
So it's like so in their head, they're very clear. You are not right now a high demanded product.
Correct.
So if I have to host you, then you better pay me money. So
but then in a way, then brands are losing money here just to acquire these customers and, being at their home present so that next time when they want it and if they are in a say traditional setup, they'll pick my product versus the other. Is it what they're trying to do with this?
Ankit, this is something now I have been preaching for a long time. See, e-commerce is not a demand solver.
Okay.
You have to build brand demand as you build on normal scenarios.
Okay.
A lot of now companies have come up saying that कि मैं e-commerce में demand बनाऊंगा. It's a very expensive proposition to do. And you can do it if in case you want to grow at a very small pace. Like ठीक है मेरे पास 20 order महीने का आया. Next month it became 40. Then it became... But I'm growing at a very small pace. Steady pace. वो scene है तो please आप e-commerce में बनाइए अपना brand.
Okay.
But otherwise... to build scale on e-com and build a brand on
when
e-com,
you say e-commerce, you're saying e-commerce on my own website or e-commerce on marketplaces?
Marketplaces.
Okay.
See, on your own website, you still have to do all of the other activities like demand generation. आपको करना पड़ेगा. You'll have to do, let's say advertising on YouTube or on social media and things like that. But I'm saying within marketplaces, there are a lot of brands who are now building their entire story on marketplaces, which is a very expensive proposition to do.
Correct.
So I know a lot of companies who are doing this now.
Yeah, but this is not a long-term game.
It's not a long-term game. And it's a very expensive game. If you have the money and, sure, go ahead and do it, but it's not sustainable at all.
So if you have money to burn, you suggest you go to e-commerce marketplaces where you can probably build your brand.
First leg of your brand.
From 0 to 1, if you can say, right?
Yeah.
But from going from 1 to 100, you'll definitely need to build your brand on an emotional proposition.
Whatever other proposition, emotional is one of the things, but but yes, you need your brand to stand for you. Like you need your promises to be standing. For example, Mama Earth, okay, as a brand, they have done very well because of the fact that they started off, let's say, on marketplaces, but they build their own D2C, with a exclusive range and proposition and things like that. But they were very clear that they need to stand for something. So they need to stand for mother's touch. They need to stand for the care. They want to stand for clean ingredients. So they worked on standing for those things on platforms which were lot more scalier than scalable rather than, let's say, just even look at what is the e-com penetration of the country today? It's close to...
You will have a better number.
So you only have about 35% of the internet population itself transacting on internet.
Okay, so if there are 100 people on internet, only 35 are transacting on e-commerce.
On a regular basis.
Okay.
Right. So if you want your next set of consumers, you have to build your brand on the grounds like any other scenario where the e-com industry did not exist as such.
Okay.
E-com has to play a role only in fulfillment and facilitation.
That's it.
So... you could do it from a very, very, very small stage of a brand, but when the moment you kind of reach that stage, you should know to cut off and...
Okay. So then it is also true in saying that if I want to build my brand for long term, and probably if I do not have enough money in the initial days to spend, or investors' money to burn, it is ideal and wise to build on my own brand proposition, build it on my own website, sell it through my own website. It is cheaper and long term sustainable.
It's not cheaper, Ankit.
Okay.
Because see, whatever certain marketplaces have a lot of existing people.
So
So
you'll
you-
spend a lot on marketing anyways if you are building your own website and selling on that.
So there is a cost of setup. You have to accept that. So now when you kind of setting it up, you build your own website. You kind of whether you allow a transaction or not, you have to build your own assets ecosystem. I don't think website is a necessary today unless you have like a proposition to sell something.
Correct.
But like if it is just about building awareness, an Instagram page could be well enough or doing the job enough, or a YouTube page, for example.
But for a transaction to happen, you need a website?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, largely
To some
yes.
extent, yeah.
Largely yes. There are now, even faster propositions than that. Like, I just saw like Shopify, templates which are available, which are literally like integrated into your social media page.
Correct.
You don't need a website to be there. You just need a backend of Shopify to be integrated into social media.
Okay.
So you could like opt for models like
So you
those.
build a Shopify, what do you call it? Shopify
Just build a Shopify store
store. That's it.
and connect it to your Facebook page.
Instagram page. That's it.
Yes,
So you don't need to host a website as well.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. You're anyways doing marketing and bringing people to your social media. Might as well sell them there.
Yeah,
That's it.
largest reach today, most of the D2C brands are doing is on social media.
Yeah.
The cost of reach is as low as possible, right? Like on social compared to even, I think, I don't think there's anybody who's right now offering a lower cost per reach. Hopefully you'll have content which kind of works on social.
Content has to work, right?
It has to work. But otherwise, social is the best platform today to build any new brand.
Okay.
And then
If you have to compare between all the social platforms, which is the one best that you would suggest? Facebook
Not
or
even
Insta?
Instagram. No, Facebook.
This is very contradicting because what we've heard and we've learned by doing marketing for various brands is, so if your customer is a teen or who's accepting e-commerce as a industry and buying on e-commerce, they are present on Insta, and my parent generation is on Facebook.
No, that's correct.
Right?
It's correct.
Then
But
how
look,
do you build a brand on Facebook and sell there?
see, of course, it depends on who you're talking to. Like, for example, if your audience is only teenagers, then maybe yes, Insta is a better idea. Cost of transaction, cost per acquisition is way cheaper on a Facebook than on Insta. Okay, so if you have a slightly more broader audience, don't restrict your campaigns to only on Insta or only on Facebook.
Okay.
Keep it open to both. You will see, in fact, Facebook gives you a lot better cost per acquisition.
Okay. But why this disparity? Because they both come from the same parent company, Meta.
You know what the difference is? It's the format.
Format of content.
Yeah, that is one thing. And secondly, so cost per click, if you look at within a Facebook and an Insta, the cost per click on Facebook is a lot more cheaper.
Yeah.
That's because they have a lot more content pages. They have a lot more inventory available.
Yeah.
See, finally, when you do all these biddable medias, it is how much inventory do you have, within, so advertisable opportunities, kitna hai? And then, so if there are 3 advertisers, then obviously everybody gets a good price.
Correct.
But if in case there are some 300 advertisers, then everybody is bidding for that same limited inventory, which is what is happening with Instagram.
Instagram now.
The inventory is limited. The number of advertisers is higher. So the cost of click on Instagram is way higher than cost of click on Facebook.
Okay.
So, but of course, like Google ecosystems are also now matching up. Like you see, YouTube or Performance Max as options within Google. They're equally comparable. But I still think slight edge higher for social media than your Google ecosystem.
So talking about marketing, we were discussing social channels. So digital marketing, right, as an option for a startup. So there are a lot of trends that we see coming and going every year, right? If I talk about 2024, probably AI or automation in marketing or native advertising or voice search has become a new trend now probably, and it is probably more accepted in 2024, right? What are some of the trends that you see in e-commerce marketing nowadays, or coming in the year 24 or 25, that startups can be aware of?
So, so specifically for startups, influencer marketing is a big trend, which they should definitely latch on to.
Okay.
Okay. And in that also specifically, now social commerce is becoming a big trend.
Okay.
So influencers are okay to pitch your products
Correct.
and get a stake at every sale that they're able to convert you at.
Hmm.
So let's say
Is it also similar to affiliate marketing?
it is
Again, avoiding a jargon, but it is affiliate
it is
marketing,
exactly
right?
affiliate marketing.
Okay.
It is basically they giving out coupon codes or taking a cut at any time there is like a specific store which is converting thanks to the asset or content that they created.
Okay.
That works. Similarly, live commerce is now big, whereby you kind of also like say ki, while I'm talking to you, if you're able to purchase, I'll give you this X whatever discount. Or and you're talking so much about the product that live commerce content gives you a lot of transactions, and especially these are great opportunities for brands who are like initially launching.
Okay.
They don't have too much background. When somebody says, I stand for this brand, I think it's great, I think it's credible, I think it delivers, then you get your conversions a lot more. So live commerce is a good format for new age brands to look at, especially for personal care as a segment, for small appliances as a segment,
Okay.
for what else? Yeah, I think fashion as a segment.
So live commerce, if I understand, in olden days, maybe not very olden, but maybe 8-10 years back, you would see these TV channels just hosting shows where they are selling products. Naptol, right? Naptol is one such example. So that was live commerce on television.
Yes.
Now you can do live commerce even on Instagram.
Correct.
We've seen even Myntra doing live commerce much often on their app itself.
Yes.
Yeah?
So in fact, in APAC and those countries, live commerce existed for a while now. Alibaba and all used to do it very often.
Okay.
That trend has now come to India because of the burst of influencers which has happened in India. So I was
but how behind are we as compared to China in terms of live commerce or any marketing technology?
I wouldn't say we're behind, but like some of the ways that they adopt...
Or catching up with the trend.
So they adopt it slightly differently, right? Like so their internet penetration is very, very high.
Yeah.
And see, when we say internet penetration, even a WhatsApp usage is called internet penetration. Their internet penetration is full-fledged. Like you're literally spending 6 hours on the internet. Okay, so when they were doing it, I remember some of those initiatives. They're able to kind of not only track, they can create pages or microsites with live commerce on an instant second.
Wow.
Because let's say I want like, and I remember, in my olden Kimberly Clark days, there was this China team. It was no correlation at all. So they were selling sanitary napkins, okay? And they tied up with an influencer. So in China, there is a concept of giving noodles for an influencer on their birthday because there's the correlation between noodles and birthdays as such.
Okay.
So they ran a campaign to say that, look, this influencer is very big. It's her birthday coming up. Every time you buy a sanitary napkin packet, we will send out noodles from her behalf to her following set.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, and the influencer who we had tied up with, came into, before this campaign, I think it was a 2-week odd campaign intervention where the influencer came up and said like, buy this, you will be doing me a favor because I'm actually wanting to do this social campaign of giving out noodles for the poor, the needy, whatever.
Wow.
So suddenly that live commerce campaign lasted for 2 weeks. It was not a on and off scenario.
Okay.
She was live for 2 weeks.
Every day.
Every moment of her, waking up scenario. She was live, and that was a campaign.
And every time she was live, she would talk about the product. And so 2 weeks she was live throughout the day. So if say she's awake for say 12 hours, she was live for 7-8 hours, and she's always talking about the product.
Always talking about the product only, but like she was integrating wherever possible. Like let's say she would like say something about her cute accessory on her table, and she talking about great accessories, but what I really still want you to go is buy that Kotex pack. Okay. And
because we are doing the social cause.
Yes. So, I'm just saying the extent of how live commerce was used.
Yeah.
This was not even now, right? This was like 3-4 years back. So I'm saying like the way we use live commerce and the way they use live commerce is very different. But I think there are trends which are now coming into India also.
But talking about building a very big brand, performance marketing, matlab not just marketing, but we talk about performance marketing, it plays a huge role, right? Uh, Before we talk about e-commerce brands or D2C or B2C brands, what I've seen is in B2B brands, right? There's not much penetration of performance marketing as such. B2B brands have been doing performance marketing for just kind of a lead generation for them. Like you mentioned in the olden days,
Yeah.
lead generation, and then they would be calling and then they would build relation on it. Right? That's what B2B has been doing. So one, is there any opportunity for B2B brands to explore more on the performance side of it?
See, performance marketing fundamentally exists on one principle of mass audience.
Okay.
Why do you do performance marketing, right? You kind of have like a huge amount of audience size. You don't know who your audience who's converting. So you run algorithms to kind of like ensure that you get the right audience and more of them at a cost efficient ratio.
Correct.
So whether you play with small media spaces or you play with just logos or you play with just product shots,
Correct.
right? And then you convert the person. In B2B places, the audience itself is very niche. ऐसा नहीं है कि you can't do performance marketing on B2B. Like for example,
But people have not explored much for them. Matlab, apart from just maybe say taking them to
it's
their
not
website.
required,
Not
honestly.
required. Okay.
And the way you do performance marketing there might be slightly different. Like for example, a calling campaign could be a performance marketing campaign in a B2B setup.
Okay.
Right? You don't need to do it as advertising through banner ads as such.
Correct.
Right? Or you
Calling
could,
campaign through Google.
yeah, you could do a calling campaign. You could do now to in fact IVR ke through you can do calling campaigns, right? And you could, because you have an individual list of people and those are limited lists, right? By the way, a lot of people even do performance marketing on social media or like channels like LinkedIn for B2B.
Correct.
So LinkedIn emails are a big source of B2B lead generation or performance marketing campaigns as such. Yeah, there are avenues, but I think because it depends on the scale of the businesses that you're pitching for.
And how important is it for an e-commerce brand or a D2C brand, performance marketing?
Of course, it's very important.
Or can they survive without performance marketing?
Again, I would say, right? See, if you have a performance marketing plays a role in a very different stage. If you have a brand which has got very good demand, you don't need to do performance marketing.
Okay.
The challenge is when your repeat ratios are low, or when you've built an awareness for those things, but the person is not considering you while he has the need gap.
Correct.
So as a biscuit company, I would know you as Britannia Biscuits.
Yeah.
But when I'm actually going to buy on a, let's say, big basket, मुझे याद नहीं था कि हाँ अच्छा Britannia Biscuit लेना है. At that moment, if I have to kind of increase my visibility or build a recall factor, I would do a performance marketing campaign. So performance marketing campaigns, I still feel have a role to play within the lower order of the marketing funnel.
Okay.
Trying to get that final conversion done, but you need to have some pre-conversion of the brand in the previous space. So even if you show me some 10 times an ad, on performance marketing with just a logo or saying 10% off,
Correct.
I will not buy you. I need to know what you stand for. I need to know what you're solving in my life.
Correct.
Then if you give me a 10%, I will still buy you. So that is the difference. But there are some brands who play with performance marketing also on the higher order benefit. For example, if you use assets like a video for doing performance marketing, it's really not performance marketing. You're actually doing brand marketing.
Brand marketing. True.
Because if a video is telling you a story, faster shave, quicker shave,
correct.
It's a story that you're telling then, no?
Correct.
So then you're building awareness.
Building a brand awareness. Correct.
So this is the debate which is the biggest in the industry today. What should one do? Performance marketing ki brand marketing?
Okay.
And the answer is, if you're playing in a different format, then performance marketing itself becomes brand marketing.
Correct.
And brand marketing could also become performance marketing if you're using sharper CTAs.
Okay.
Call to actions, for example.
Okay. So when you say using sharper CTAs, how should one optimize their performance marketing campaigns?
There was this nice campaign done by Myntra. They were doing TV advertising. And TV advertising pe, they had 2-3 versions of their creative which was
Right.
there. They were checking on online actual real time पे कितने लोग आ रहे थे.
Okay.
So whenever the spot was running on
Running,
TV,
हाँ.
they were mapping it कि कितने लोग आए.
Okay.
So they were checking on call to action with a TV campaign,
TV campaign.
to actually see how many.
Okay.
So there are ways to kind of like look at how to what call to action works for you.
Okay. So one is call to action. What other things that I can do if I'm starting up a new brand and I want to do performance marketing, I want to build my brand, do some get some initial sales so that if I'm looking for next round of funding, how do I optimize more? One is looking at a CTA and tracking it, if maybe A/B testing, if this is working, this is not working. That is one. What other things you can do, or what KPIs you should measure in terms of performance marketing to say that this campaign was successful, or we sold?
Okay, so see, as I said, it depends on what you're trying to solve for. If you're solving for an awareness scenario,
Okay.
you're then going to measure metrics in terms of next best action pe kitna aaya. So
Okay.
next best action in this case, if awareness hai, is searches.
Searches kitna aaya?
कितना
Okay.
आया, okay, so और brand visits कितना आया, like
Right.
let's say on the website का URL पे कितने लोगों ने organically type किया.
Hmm.
So ideal scenario is to kind of look at next best action that you desire for whichever mode of it, whether
Okay.
it is top of the funnel advertising की on the bottom of the funnel, like अगर e-commerce specifically की बात करें, ideally look at your cost per acquisition, yes, but also look at if you're operating within an e-com channel, how much advertising money did you spend and how much did you make back? We call it net revenue, which is basically remove the MRP say seller margin.
Okay.
Okay, so which is then the net revenue that you make essentially for selling each product.
Correct.
What is the percentage of advertising that you spend for that net revenue? Ideally, it should be profitable, whereby when you remove the cogs of the product or the marketing operations ka cost, like resources and all of that ka cost,
Correct.
you should still be able to make money. If that is not happening, then CAC, PAC and all doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for a small business, right now at this point, profitability is the only focus that one should look at. Don't look at scale. Investors are now looking at actually profitability a lot more than how much scale.
Yeah.
Potential and profitability.
I was talking to this one of the founders who recently got funded in Shark Tank, and one of the statements he told me was, "Okay, even our investors, we've met them after Shark Tank and the funding and all is happening. They said that they are also focusing के profitable रखो, build your brand for long term.
Yeah.
अभी के लिए 1 साल के लिए अगर आप sales बढ़ा भी लोगे तो there's no worth in long term, and then तो उनका तो पैसा डूबना ही है.
And by the way, it's tougher. It's not easier this way, because you're then trying to when you're playing the long game, no, you don't make these shortcut things.
Yeah.
Like you don't cut corners. You make the product experience the hero of your brand. So, like, there is a product that we have in Dr. Reddy's called Venusia.
Correct.
Beautiful product experience. Honestly, the repeat ratios of that product is superbly high because the experience is so beautiful. So, I'm saying, like, even for new products right now, like a lot of these personal care brands, I'm an avid user or experimenter because I like these new environments that these e-commerce, websites that they build. That I actually go ahead and buy some of these products just to see how the experience is. Great promises, great packaging.
Okay.
Product experience shitty.
Okay.
So I would still, and I will never go back to them. In fact, I'll probably talk to 10 people also saying that terrible product experience.
Terrible product experience.
So good to have is packaging, good to have is marketing, but must have is product experience of the quality of the product that you're giving off.
So packaging देख के लोग शायद खरीदेंगे एक बार, but if the experience is not that great, they'll never come back to you.
Not only that, they will also advocate for you negatively outside.
So all the money that you're spending on customer acquisition is going to go waste.
Absolutely.
Because आपने सोचा कि वो 4 बार खरीदेगा तो my lifetime value is going to be higher, but experience खराब था उसकी वजह से they are not going to come back.
It's true. And these are marketing 101s, right? Like every time when you kind of like when you started off, everybody would focus and tell you, make a good product. It will market itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So your initial push of like making it available, saying that ki ye product naya available aaya hai,
Correct.
then the product should do its job. And if it's not doing its job, then you're doing a very bad job of building a bad
So
product.
referring or your customers should become your brand advocates
Yeah.
in their community, right? That is what a successful brand has to, I think, aim for.
Yeah. And it need not be sometimes. So, like personal care products, it is a little more of touch and feel.
Yeah.
But what do you do with products like apparel? I need to feel like $1 million if I am wearing a particular piece of cloth. So, whether it is an ambassador who's wearing it, okay, or the fact that the fabric feels fabulous or does not wear and tear fast, or like a Nike shoebox when it comes, the packaging is so delightful when you open it itself, right? That it makes me feel like I'm actually wearing something very exclusive.
Correct.
That experience has to be delivered, and people have to focus on that. So, customer experience, consumer experience, product experience, very critical today's world.
But in today's generation, whatever startups are coming up, right, these are majorly by young people, and they think building a business is get quick rich or get rich quick scheme. Right? They think कि भाई आज मैंने लॉन्च किया, कल से माल बिकना चालू हो जाएगा and 1 साल में तो ब्रांड बन जाएगा. But what they don't understand is Rome was not built in a day and nor will be your brand.
And
how do you make them understand this?
See, I'll tell you one small thing. Tata Ambani कितने हैं country में? Okay?
Yeah.
Which means that if they did not focus on the right things, you did not play the long-term game.
Correct.
Which means that you were rich for a day.
Yeah.
And then poor the next day.
So it'll go up like this and bring you down.
Look at most
very
of these.
quickly.
Yeah, look at most of these D2C brands.
Yeah.
And like we spoke about some of them earlier also.
Correct.
They're all struggling with after making that quick buck. And if you're not able to cash out, which is now difficult because investors are also looking for more sustainable pillars in the business rather than getting this, scale of this thing. That's where, you have to understand that if there were so many people who could get rich and stay rich, then there would be a lot more Tata Ambanis in the world.
Yeah.
If it is not there, then there is you're not solving for the right thing.
Correct.
This is not a quick hard work has to be there. It has to be, and it has to be. You cannot lose focus of your customer and what your problem you're solving for. You have to be obsessed with it.
Correct. So we've spoken a lot about marketing, performance, and a lot of it, right? But we have still not addressed the biggest shark in the tank till now, and it is impacting any and every industry. That's AI. How do you see the impact of AI and the way it is growing and being accepted for e-commerce?
Other thing in terms of e-commerce and how do we kind of see some of these use case scenarios is predictive analysis. A lot on e-commerce is kind of like playing a role. Performance campaigns are using AI a lot.
Okay, can you explain predictive analysis for the audience in a simpler word probably?
So let's say if my monthly volume was 100 units to be sold, right? And 50 units were sold by platform A, 20 units for somebody else, and another 30 units by platform C. It gives me analysis saying that out of the intended 50, only 20 sold. Right? So, and out of the intended 30, 50 sold. So maybe I should be plotting more into a platform C than platform A. So those kind of analysis, this is very simplistic, but it's a lot more complex when it comes to real time.
Correct.
Or it could be some things like price, right?
So this is what AI is capable for in e-commerce.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. We're using it already.
You're already using it.
Yeah.
And what change are you finding it in terms of your numbers or in terms of your marketing campaign success rate?
See, one is the efficiency has become a lot more higher.
Okay.
If a person invested, let's say, 8 hours to do this analysis, now it's happening in like some 20 minutes. The other thing is it is more real time. So you don't have to do it only once a month. You do it like on a real time basis, right?
Yeah.
That's big saving. The other thing is like when you were spending since also there's a cost efficiency, right? You don't invest in campaigns which don't work.
Correct.
So AI kind of optimizes it for you.
Optimizes it for you.
So usually you end up seeing anywhere between 15 to 25% as saving.
So do you also see AI getting integrated into Meta and other ad platforms where they will throw you a message that saying that your ad campaign is not going to perform at all? Because the messaging is wrong already?
Yeah. So
and how effective is it?
See, for example, when you put up a YouTube video today, they will tell you the text to image ratio, right?
Yeah.
So it is not too difficult for them to tell you ki reduce your text to image ratio, and in fact they do an auto disapproval. in
Yeah.
Facebook today, Meta
Correct.
campaigns,
Yeah.
if in case your text to image ratio is not as per standards.
Mm.
So that even Amazon does it.
Okay.
So Amazon does not accept your, let's say, video if in case one of the frames mentions something to do with,
Okay.
medical words or something like that. So it will
Mm.
auto disapprove. So those kind of things already exist.
Okay. Okay.
But AI will probably help you, save money on creation and optimization. That's those large big themes.
Okay. Perfect. So very quickly before we end, right? From your experience of overall 20 years, almost 20 years in e-commerce and marketing and stuff. So if I am an aspiring marketeer and want to build my career in e-commerce or say performance marketing, what are some things that I can do or some courses that I can do or essential skills that I need to build for myself to succeed in this industry?
I tell this to everybody, don't do courses, go do actually get your hands dirty.
Okay.
So like go work with like either a D2C brand who's kind of looking at, even if you are, let's say, even if I was the person who was kind of like starting off at this stage, I would have probably like gone and joined a D2C company,
Right.
done very basic works of things like even like copywriting or understanding how to place ads or work within the teams as such.
Right.
The best learning platforms even today are agencies, where you don't get paid very well, but the fastest learning experience are with agencies. So doing is learning.
Okay.
That is what my mantra has been.
Perfect. Perfect. And what do you see as in future of e-commerce in the next 5 years? Because I think 10 years is a very long gap. Now तो मतलब technology is changing so fast that 5 years में और चार चीजें नहीं आ जाएंगी. What new do you think we'll see in e-commerce or through e-commerce?
As I was saying, like the number of e-com startups will increase drastically, whereby these kind of niche marketplaces will exist. The other thing I think is convenience will play a even more higher role.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh,
there
wow.
might be these scenarios where hyper personalization of e-commerce will play a role. So, like for example, the local Kirana fellow will have a scenario to talk to you with via the digital ecosystem. So he might have inventory. What is he doing finally? He's becoming a warehouse, right?
Yeah.
So he will become an e-com model very soon. And that
I think
is
that
how
is
the
something similar what ONDC is trying to solve. Something similar, not exactly, but maybe 10-20% of it.
ONDC is, as I said, like it's solving for a network of individuals who are providing services which could play a role within the e-com system.
Yeah.
Not necessarily converting the Kirana to a e-com store. I feel like there will be a scenario where today omnichannel is still a word which is there in all of our vocabularies. It will actually truly exist. And omnichannel e-commerce will be like the next big unlock.
Okay. Okay.
I think these are few things. I think the other unlock which we have not still seen is how tier 2 is going to come into not just a service
That impact we
consumer.
are yet to see. Yeah.
Not see right now they're only consumers.
Yeah.
We have not seen service coming outside. Like so they're not being the suppliers.
Suppliers. Yes.
Once that starts hitting India, will be a different ecosystem.
Different ecosystem in terms of e-commerce.
Yeah. Yeah. You see the local talent available. I mean, like as marketers also, you see some of the capabilities which comes out of tier 3 students in India, like design capabilities. Some of them are even thinking capabilities. So some of the design workshops that we do, not just for marketing design, but also like operational design, right? They're asking questions which are very relevant.
Wow.
Why can't you solve it like this? Why can't we think about it like this? Those are very different type of exposure sets that we don't have today. Once that gets connected to the bigger picture, the evolution I think will tilt. The Etsy today, like you spoke about, talking about getting a lot more organic, lot more richer, customized products. Will make it difficult for the mass produced products to survive, and then the competition will change. Even in China, the big manufacturers faced a problem not because of the guy who went cheaper, because of the guy who was bringing in a much more premium product.
Wow.
So because the buying power in India is increasing, and also the the city is no longer restricted to the area of all advancement. It is now expanding into tier 1 and tier 2 cities.
as well.
Suddenly you will see like a new evolution of technology which will kind of erupt.
Wow. And one last question, right? You've been always working for 20 years. Did you ever think of starting on your own?
Multiple times.
Yeah?
Whenever I got irritated
what
with my
did-
boss, I wanted to quit.
What
and
stopped
start
you
up.
from doing it?
So, see, the beauty of where I am is I'm at a very fast-paced, category,
Yeah.
and the function is growing with new things which are being offered even today.
Mm.
Even in with 20 years of doing the same, function, there's so many new things which are kind of happening. It has never really given me a scenario whereby my job is becoming mundane.
Okay. So
So
the day it will become Monday, you'll
it'll probably
try something new.
Yes. Yeah, I will do it.
Looking forward to it.
Sounds
So,
good.
yes, we come to the end of this interesting conversation. Thank you once again, Reethika, for
Thank you.
coming over and sharing your insights. I think in almost it's been 2 hours. We didn't realize we've been talking for almost 2 hours, and you've shared some interesting pieces of information and from your experience of almost 2 decades, which I'm sure the industry and people who are wanting to enter in this industry and entrepreneurs who are wanting to enter, this is definitely going to help them. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for coming
Thanks so
to the
much.
branding circle.
Thanks, and all the best to the branding circle and the podcast. I hope you have a lot of success.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
hope Hangover Media also does very well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us today. And I hope you guys have received some valuable information from the conversation. If you like it, do like, comment, and share in your network so that more and more people get benefited out of it. Thank you so much.